The Fourth Kind is a alien horror movie and probably one of the most influential movies of my life. The plot of this movie is in Nome, Alaska, a bunch of people are having trouble sleeping, and so Dr. Abigail Tyler is conducting sleep therapy sessions to continue the work of her late husband, who recently passed away. Noticing a correlation between many of her patients, she decides to put one of them under hypnosis to really find out what they're seeing at night. And that was definitely the beginning of her downfall. Her patients were claiming that at night, an owl kept waking them up, and that's all they could think about was this owl. Well, under hypnosis, they started to realize that there actually wasn't an owl. There was something else. And the events follow. So basically the movie follows her putting a bunch of her patients under hypnosis and then them realizing that there was no owl and it was actually aliens abducting them. And the movie deals with a bunch of interesting facts, which I'll get to later. The end of the movie, she decides to put herself under hypnosis, which was probably the worst mistake of her life. And the whole time you're watching the movie, it's split between what they're portraying as real footage compared to the dramatic acting footage. And that sums up the whole movie without too many spoilers. So past this point, bunch of spoilers. If you want to watch the movie, I highly recommend it without any spoilers, because spoilers definitely take away from this movie. So my review of The Fourth Kind. This movie brought to life one of the most craziest movies I had ever watched. I remember watching this movie and thinking, are aliens real? I mean, from watching this one movie, it led me down a path of literally doing an insane amount of research about aliens. And not just like, a weekend, years and years of my life, I was just obsessed with aliens because of this one movie. And the reason for that is after I watched it, I had to know if it was real or not. And I watched this right when it came out. So there wasn't a lot of information on the internet about if it was real or not. Big spoiler, the movie is not real. So the director, I guess, eventually comes out and says, no, this is all just a made up movie. And that kind of takes the magic away from the movie, but nonetheless, it actually adds a little bit to it because he created a movie, the writers and the director made a movie that felt so real that right after watching, I did tons of research about it. And even though it's not your typical horror movie, it's so based in reality and actually has real facts to back it up with like the Sumerians and all that it just feels so real. And because of that, I'm not gonna lie, this movie changed my life. And it's funny reading some of the reviews on this movie because it'd be like, oh, it was boring. And I'm like, this movie had so many facts that how could you not be interested in aliens after watching the movie? The movie in itself is introducing people to the idea that yes, aliens were actually real, and here's a whole bunch of facts and information. Do the research yourself and you'll see that aliens might be real. And the rabbit hole I went down literally changed my life once again. So for the director, the writers, and the actors is because if the movie is fake, that means all the real footage was actors, and they did an outstanding job making it feel very realistic. This movie is phenomenal, in my opinion, and on the rewatch a couple days ago, it's still kind of creepy. So I would rate The Fourth Kind a perfect 10 out of 10. One of my most favorite, hands down, horror movies I ever seen, just because of the implications that come with it. And yeah, I was kind of sad when I found out that it wasn't real, but that just means they put so much work into this movie to make it feel real. How is that not outstanding? So I highly recommend The Fourth Kind to any horror enjoyer, and I also recommend it to anybody who's interested in aliens. Yes, the movie's fake, but do the research on aliens. After you watch it, you'll want to do the research. And definitely, this is a movie that deserves to be in your collection.